Today we are going to have a supplemental lesson in how to write in APA style. Some of the basics of APA include always writing in Times New Roman 12-point font, restate the title on the first page of the actual text, and always double space the entire document. Let's look at a sample paper and point out some of the important aspects of writing in APA style. If you'll notice, at the top of the page, the title of the paper is centered and not bolded. In this section, the introduction presents the problem that the paper addresses. Also, pay attention to how you cite references within the text. If an article has 3 to 5 authors, always write out all of the authors' names the first time that they appear. Then, later in the document, you can just use the first author's last name followed by et al. Period. Then the date. In-text citations include the authors' names and the publication year. Some of the most common mistakes are made when listing out the references at the end of your document. Always capitalize the first word in the title of a journal article and the first word after punctuation. No other words should be capitalized. Don't indent the first line of an APA reference, but do indent the subsequent lines. When writing your references, they always go in alphabetical order. Now let's take a look at how to cite different authors in your reference section. If there is a single author, meaning only one person is listed as writing the article, you will put their last name first, followed by the author initials, such as this: Burnt, comma, T period space, J period space, then the year of publication, followed by a period, then the title of the article, followed by the title of the publication that it is listed in. If you have 2 authors, list by their last names and initials. Use the ampersand instead of the word and. Here's an example. Here's Wigner, comma, space, D period space, T period, comma, space, ampersand, space, Petty, comma, R period space, E period space, followed by the year in parentheses and a period. If it's an edited book with no author, then you put it as the editors of the book. These are the editors' last names, followed by a period, the year, and then the title. Finally, if you have an edited book with an author or multiple authors, you will follow the same guidelines as we've talked about up here. With the unabridged journals, here is the title of the book, and you always want to include not only who the editor or publisher is, but also the place where it was published. This one was published in New York, comma, NY, semicolon, Anchor, period. Additionally, whenever you are citing something within the text, always use the page numbers when quoting that text. But try not to use too many quotations or whole sentence quotations. Always try to paraphrase the information in your own words. You will need to block indent if you have very long quotations, such as those of 3 or more sentences that you are rewriting in the author's exact words. Try not to use them at all unless they're absolutely critical to the point you're trying to make. Always try to paraphrase or rewrite what the author has stated in your own words. Always remember that even if you are rewriting in your own words and paraphrasing what the author has said, you must always still cite the author. That is their intellectual property. You're just rewriting the words that they've already generated. So make sure that you don't get caught up in plagiarizing by not citing them within the text. For short quotations, if you are directly quoting from a work, you will need to include the author, year of publication, and the page number for the reference, preceded by the letter P period. Introduce the quotation with a signal phrase that includes the author's last name followed by the date of publication in parentheses. Here's an example. According to Jones, 1998, comma, then the quotations start. When you take words verbatim and use them, you always put them in quotation marks, followed by parenthesis, P period, space, 199, period following the last parenthesis. Here's another example where something was just pulled out from the entire sentence. Jones, 1998, found students often had difficulty using APA style, period, 1999, semicolon. What implications does this have for teachers? You can clearly see that this section was taken directly from the author, whereas this part was paraphrased by the person that was writing. You should always try to paraphrase what the author is saying in your own words. Should you ever need to use a long quotation in order to validate or reinforce a point, then you will need to follow these simple guidelines. Place direct quotations longer than 40 words, which this is longer than 40 words. You're going to place direct quotations in a freestanding block of typewritten lines and omit the quotation marks. So you're taking out the quotation marks and replacing them by bringing this into the center of the page. Start the quotation on a new line indented 1/2 inch from the left margin. As example, in the same place you would begin a new paragraph. Then type the entire quotation on the new margin and indent the first line of any subsequent paragraph within the quotation 1/2 inch from the new margin. Maintain double spacing throughout. The parenthetical citation should come after the closing punctuation mark, as you can see here. Parenthetical P for the page number, space 199. Writing in APA is something that you continue to get better at as you practice doing it. Many different places require that you will write in APA, so it's very advantageous for you to learn how to write in APA to the best of your ability. If you should run into any issues that we didn't cover, then please refer to these websites, APA Style and Purdue OWL. They both are a wealth of information and can help you to write your paper and stay within the guidelines of APA.